Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.co.uk. I'm Heidi Smith. I'm an independent Stampin' demonstrator based in the United Kingdom, and today I am part of the Inspire Create design team, bringing you a sketch challenge. So on Inspire Create challenges, go and have a look, because there are loads of fortnightly challenges for you to take part in. I'm on the design team, so we just create something using the inspiration. It could be a sketch, it could be a colour challenge, and then you get to join in as well and post your likes. And it's a really great way to get some new ideas for your crafting. And today is this one was a challenge for me. So this is the sketch. As I've said before, I often make these in card, just so that because it helps me kind of focus on how to make it. So this is what it was, and I thought when I was playing with it, I just received my pre-order and I came up with this version. So I turned it on its side, and I've used the beautiful Wisteria Wishes bundle to create a lovely card. So this one was using fresh freesia and rich raspberry and the new I'm going to say Parakeet Party. Is it Parakeet? Yes, it is Parakeet Party. But it's a lovely fun colour. But I thought it was a really nice way to kind of do something a little bit different. And as I've said, this is a good way for me to work out the measurements on something like this. So the Stampin' die set, you can see here, stamp set is great because you can use it in either orientation. You can either use it as a wisteria, or here's one of my projects, as a lavender maybe, or a lupin, you know, something like that. Lovely, some fun, some interesting sentiments on this one. Hang in there, I think it's a great one. And then we had real laughs because we started pairing them up all together. So hang in there, even when you don't understand. And it was like, happiness grows within, even when you don't understand. Faith is about trusting, even when you don't understand. That one kind of makes sense. But we just kind of, we just had a real laugh about these. So you could have some real fun. If you've got somebody with a bit of a quirky sense of humour, this could be a great one to use for them. So, yeah, I thought actually, because I was playing with new ones, I might use some new colours. So I've gone for Orchid Oasis for the card base. So this is the standard UK size half A4 card base, so 14.5 by 21, scored at 10.5. So you'll want two pieces of basic white, 14 by 10 centimetres. You're going to want a ruler and either an erasable pen or a pencil, because what she says, having dropped her pen, oh dear, it's all going to go wrong now. Okay. Right, so what you need to do, well, what I did, I'll show you, is on the front here, I marked at 4.5 and 6 centimetres. So that's 6 centimetres along the top and 4.5 down the side here. Okay, I then repeated that on the bottom edge. So again, marked at 6 and then 4.5. Like so. And then I'm going to cut diagonally on this. So it's obviously much easier to do on this edge because we can open up the trimmer, like so. A little bit more tricky on this one because you're going to have to do two things. You're going to line up the bottom one, and then you're going to look through the track to line up that mark on the score line, and then just cut. And just, you know, keep sort of edging until you get to the end. And then obviously at 10.5, you can then cut up to there as well. So that kind of gives our basic layer. Now, I often find it tricky doing triangles, you know, and getting the layers right. So I thought actually the easiest way to do it on this would be pop your piece of Whisper White, basic white even, on the inside and just mark it, tucked up into that corner. Do the same on the other side. So tuck it down nice and square. And again, mark. And this is where the erasable pen is going to come into its own. And then just, if you come and line those up, you should have a piece that fits exactly what your angles are. So even if you are off slightly on your card base, hopefully the layers should still stay the same. So let's have a look and see how that is looking. It will be slightly narrower, so I should have said to cut slightly inside. But I can just, and I do find that these erasable pens, I think, are almost better than a pencil these days. One, because they show up more. But there we go, and look, if you see, we've now got lovely layers for our differently shaped card. So that's how I've done it. Hope that works for you too. So I'm now going to do my stamping, which is obviously on my inner piece and on my front panel. So put everything else to the side. Oh, I have done the measurements in inches as well. I'll put them on the on my blog and on my video in the description box below. But basically, you're looking at a 5 3/4 by 8 1/4 card base, score at 4 1/8, and the measurements for the marks are 1 7/8 and 2 3/8. So those are the things that you want. We're using a photopolymer stamp set, so you know what I'm going to say. Get out your Stampin' Pierce mat and use that when you're doing your stamping. So first of all, I'm going to create my layers across. So I'm going to stamp with my Parakeet Party, but I'm actually going to stamp off as well. So I've got a bit of scrap of grid paper there because I don't want it to be too strong, and it is particularly because this pad is quite juicy. So I'm just kind of, trying to keep those vertical, the little stems vertical on that. I'm going to do the same again on the inside. And obviously this won't be visible, so if you wanted to, you could, in fact, why don't we? We could in fact pop some up here in this top corner, which will be visible through that sort of cutaway aperture. So that's my Parakeet Party. Now, I thought I was looking at the various colours to go with Orchid Oasis, and I actually thought Night of Navy might be rather nice. So this is going to be very much a blue one. I found I wasn't so keen on Highland Heather and Gorgeous Grape with them for this, but we'll see how it goes. It's like you never quite know till you actually stamp these ones. So my background is going to be using the Orchid Oasis, which is quite a deep colour. Do I want to stamp off? Yes, I think I might. I'm going to. Let's go for it. Okay, so what I'm doing here is, hopefully get that lined up. I'm just lining up those stems with my lovely Wisteria flowers coming down. I could have actually, perhaps should have put another one in the middle there. Just think, I have my other ones. Yeah, I might just pop an extra one in the middle. And I'm going to just pop a scrap of paper on that. I actually got some, there they are. I've actually cut some masks out for doing this so that I can quickly sort of put those over. I couldn't, of course, put my hand on them at the time, but I've just stamped them on a scrap bit of card, and then you can mask those off when you want to add something over the top, just so you don't get. There we go. You don't get so many lines crossing all the time on those. Okay, I'm wittering away. And actually I've stamped on that, and that's actually the inside of my card. Oh well, never mind. Having done that, that was the piece I was actually going to do. Oh well. Okay, I'll get back to it. Okay. So I'm just going to say do a stamped off version of those. Like that, and I might actually put an extra one just on the side. No, I'm not going to put one on the side because I want to put my sentiment on there. So my sentiment I'm actually going to stamp in the Orchid Oasis, and I'm just going to pop that right across at the bottom. And I'm going to do that now so that when I arrange my other Wisteria's die cuts, I can make sure that doesn't get covered up too much with those. What you've also got is this extra little leaf. So I'm actually going to come in with this extra leaf and just fill in some of those gaps there. There we go. Okay, so that'll be that should be fine. I say I've gone a bit mad on the inside of the card, but hey, there we go. So now what I want to do is I come in with the accent piece on the top. I'm making a right hash of this today, aren't I? Right, so this one is a single stamp, which just means it makes it really easy to come in and stamp over the top. So I'm just going to add, and what it means is you haven't got to kind of line this up perfectly. It is designed to be a little bit sketchy. And again, it's on the inside there. There's a beautiful wisteria, or there used to be a beautiful wisteria in the village where I grew up, on the front of a cottage. It was stunning, absolutely beautiful. So I very fond memories of wisteria. Never had any success growing them in my parents' garden, I have to say. It just we obviously didn't suit it. So where are we? So apart from me wittering on. So now we've got our component piece. What we do want to do now are our die cutting. So the dies that come with this, you've got 2 dies which layer, and you've got the leaves. So I'm going to cut those out in Parakeet Party, and then I'm going to cut this out in Night of Navy and this one out in Orchid Oasis. And what I think I'll do, I'm going to cut some out on double-sided adhesive sheet, and that might just make it easier for layering up. So I will go off and do that. Okay, so what I've got now then is here are my die cuts. So I've done a couple of the leaves, I've done sort of 3 of those, one without adhesive sheet so we can see how well that cuts, and then I've done my Night of Navy without as well because they're going to be sort of covered up too. Reminder, when you put dies through with something like this, don't put it horizontally through your die cutting machine, put it at an angle, and that will help protect the roller and it will just cut more evenly. You're just allowing the roller to roll over and give better pressure on it. So where are we? Let's have a look then. So I'm going to pop these onto the back there. I think it probably would have been better to put these on some adhesive sheet as well. But there's enough spaces on here, I think, to add some. I'm going to just add little bits of Tombow. The other way to do this is use a bit of Tombow on a sponge. You've seen me do that on a silicone mat. That's another good way to get a good level of cover on it. So we're just going to pop these over the top. Just hold that in place while that grabs. And then I'm just going to probably just trim a little bit of that away. You can always, with die cuts, trim away, use what you need. You know, you haven't got to use all of it all of the time. And while that's drying, the first one, let's pop our adhesive sheets. So I've added adhesive sheets to the back of this. So that should just peel away, and that should often takes the little pieces out with it as well. If it doesn't, grab a pokey tool, take your pick and just pop those through, and then you can just layer that on there. Actually, I rather like that with the navy. What do you think? Which is your preference? Obviously, one of these is going to be lifted up on dimensionals. So this is my other one that I had with adhesive sheet. Making a bit of a meal out of that, aren't I? So adhesive sheet, yes or no? Yeah. I think once you get the edge off, she says, oh, I will. Right, there we go. Once you get an edge up, you're fine. There we go. And so as you peel it away, you can see it's taking out a lot of those little pieces as well. So again, just pop that on the top there. And that makes it quite solid on the back, so that would make it quite easy to pop some dimensionals on the back there, some good solid areas. And then this is the one I haven't put adhesive sheet on, so I'm just going to add, and there's some quite good stuff, as you can see, some quite chunky sort of areas where you can pop a bit of Tombow on there, so you don't have to cover the back of it completely. Quite forgiving, it will grab quite quickly. There we go. So there we have our flowers. So I think that one, so I have this one here, and pop this one here, and yeah. So I'm just going to cut away those stems. They're going to be covered up. But it just gives, just using that die cut leaf, it's just going to add a little bit more interest to it as well. So you can see I'm just putting it onto those Night of Navy. This is the nice thing about having a contrast on there. You can easily see where you want to put it. I'm just putting that first one right on the edge there. My happy birthday. I'm going to put my second one up here. So as I say, you can do all sorts of things with a sketch challenge, and you can come up with some, I mean, many come up with lots more interesting things than I do, but I just thought this one I was quite pleased with how this one worked. And then all I'm going to do is grab some dimensionals now, and probably mini dimensionals will work better with this. Just going to pop those on that top one there. And down there. See, just wittering away. This is what happens. Sometimes I'm chatty and sometimes I'm not. But there we go. Let's pop that one in there as well. There we go. We're ready to add our layers on. So pop our layer onto the front. And our layer onto the inside. Again, just with a bit of Tombow on there. And there we have our Wisteria Wishes take on our Inspire Create number 116 sketch challenge. Which do you think? I don't know. I rather like my original one with the rich raspberry and fresh freesia, but you know what? Orchid Oasis and Night of Navy looks pretty cool too. Right, well, thanks for watching. Come back and see me again soon. Bye for now.